Yo, 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 what's up, dialoguers? It's your boy, Minedialogue, back once again, sharing info for you to comprehend. And before you know it, you'll start to ascend. So, what's going on, folks? It is super early in the morning, 1:46 a.m. on the 7th of August. Before we jump into things, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. Definitely helps the channel and the algorithms to pop this content up towards the top so you can be able to get access to it super easily. Don't forget to support the Cash App if that's what your heart leads you to do. It is money sign Minedialogue. That's money sign Minedialogue, or you can hit me up for via email, mydialogue.business@gmail.com. So what's good, my people? So want to give y'all an update of what's going on here. So I'm gonna take off and hide some of these things so we can clear the charts up a little bit and we could take a look at where we are currently in aftermarket. I didn't do my levels yet. I currently have the old levels right now, and I'm gonna give you the context of what that, where we are, what they currently mean, and all that stuff. Let's see here. I don't even know. This is probably not even the charts that I was looking at initially, but nonetheless, I like to keep a couple different charts because I have different analysis on each of them, and so I'm able to see key things that'll help me with determining what I expect and things like that. So one of the things that I tagged is this red line up here. I'm gonna put a circle into it so you can see exactly what I'm referencing. And please, y'all, share feedback on what you're seeing on the videos. Sometimes the video process is slow, so things don't come across properly. Maybe the colors are a little off. You're not able to see specifically what I'm referencing. Comment, share feedback so I can be able to make those updates and make your experience much more positive. So this is the particular line that I'm referencing. It's August 5th. It's basically this August 5th crazy high that we made off of this candle when they entered the market. And it's also the start or the beginning of a bearish fair value gap from July 31st. So when we go over here, you can see the bearish fair value gap right there, and I'll draw it out so you can see it. And I know before I talked about not really talking much about bearish and bullish fair value gaps, volume imbalances, and things like that. They're still in play. It just all depends on where, like how I incorporate them into what I'm sharing with you. But you can see I'm expecting this area to be a big supply area, meaning that I'm expecting at least when they get there, some type of initial sell-off, primarily because we're going to be up against this crazy high of when they entered the market. And from the past, off the context of this, where this bearish fair value gap started, you can see this was a sell-off area, right? We just tag these couple different areas so you can be able to see what I'm referencing. That area, they sold off pretty heavily there. Matter of fact, that area, that sell-off area pushed us all the way down to 620. So that's a really significant sell-off area. And then now, at least on these particular charts. So This black trend line up top here, I labeled it as top of a 4-hour channel, and then the bottom one, the same thing, bottom of a 4-hour channel, because that's the bigger picture context that helps me frame out where direction is likely to go and how they're going to play in those areas. So I'm going to take off some of these things just to clean up, because I want you to be able to see. This thing is tripping. Golly. Yeah, of course it's unresponsive. Like, for what reason? It's tripping. My bad, y'all. This, I don't know. This thing be tripping sometimes. Be going so slow, man. Hopefully it gets this out of its system. I'm gonna pause it. All right, y'all, we're back. This thing was tripping. I think it might be working much better now. All right. Let's see here. So before I hide the channel that I just got rid of, let me show you. There we go. So you can see here, just to kind of give you an idea of what happened, right? So from the past, we got up to the top of the channel, right? Pre-market up here. I'm referencing right over here. We'll make that a different color. So that blue was when we hit the top of the channel pre-market. As you can see, beautiful sell-off, right? So they essentially operated in this channel going down. Let's see. Right there. So they got in that channel going down. Let's get it as clear as possible. Let's see here. All right, cool. So I don't know if I necessarily drew it perfectly or not, but I don't have time for that. But as you can see, we operated in this channel going down. Once we hit the top of the bigger 4-hour channel, then they essentially ping-ponged inside of this like tighter channel going down. Switched over, started going up into this other channel going up. Then they popped out of it, right? So that's essentially what's going on. We just keep popping in and out of like different channel sequences, and so we use the levels, fair value gaps, and key things like that to help us determine what's going on. But I'm paying attention to these bigger trend lines that create that 4-hour channel, right? So let's see here. So off of the context of those things, I'm going to let me just hide the text for now, just to get some stuff off the screen. So this is what we're currently dealing with right now. I'm gonna hide this as well. This now, before I hide this other red trend line that was a part of another channel. What I'm watching now is first of all, they manipulated before popping above it, right? That's key. That was key right there. They did this manipulation right here. Let's take this. Right, you can see they manipulated. So they initially went up above the trend line, right? So let's draw this with the tool so you can be able to see the path that I'm referencing. So look how they got support off of this 50% 21-minute entry level that I was able to identify. They wicked it to here 3 times before popping up, right? So we essentially went to, well, initially they made that swing high, came down, manipulated above, manipulated below, and now we're right here currently. Right, that was a sequence of what they just did. So you can see when they do their manipulation, you can see the candles. They're like full body candles. It helps with the psychology around their manipulation, because in real time, when you're seeing these full body candles and it's going in a particular direction, the momentum or acceleration at which they're being formed is pretty aggressive. And so if you're considering getting a move, if you're not in the move already, either you're sitting on the sidelines to see what happens, or you're not really trying to get in on those moves, or you might be trying to get out of a move because they're about to breach an area that you don't like. And so they're moving aggressively, and that's part of the psyche of why they're able to be effective with the manipulation, because these are full body aggressive candles, and then they turn it around on you. That's why it's key to really develop like some advanced entry models. I mean, advanced initially, but once you start seeing the pattern of them, it's not as advanced, right? But it's good to see what they're doing around those like particular levels, like the 2-level retracement measurement I showed you, where that entry model involves them closing below the 2 level, they sweep the low, and then they reverse. Entry models like that allow you to catch these types of manipulations, right? So that's kind of the sequence of what they did. So I'm watching this red trend line, which is the top of another channel, because not only did we manipulate above it and below it, right? So you got 2 different manipulations. 2 different manipulations. Let's clone this. They manipulated above it first, and then they manipulated below it and popped back above. So they pop back above it, and it's above the 21-minute measurement. It was an endpoint measurement that I had. Basically, it was the end of a measurement. So basically, I probably measured starting from the bottom and went to the top. We're above that range now. So what I'm looking for now is them using this as support to go higher if they're not higher already. So we can go into Robinhood, right? So if I said before I even look at Robinhood, off of the context of just seeing that they manipulated 2 times around this trend line just to end up back above it, right? After they breached it, they came below it and went back above, and we're above this 21-minute measurement endpoint, or the top of a range that I measured. What it tells me is we're getting ready to engage a new range within the bigger context of this 4-hour channel, essentially, right? Because ultimately we're trying to get up here, which puts us, let's see here, around the 546 to 548 area. We're ultimately trying to get up there. But before we get up there, we're going to do all types of shenanigans first in order to get there. So we're basically in the process of getting ready to engage in a new range. And we'll try to measure out. Let me see how much time we got left. About 15 minutes. We'll go on the higher time frame, see if we can measure out this channel to see where we are specifically in that range. But for right now, I'm looking at this area right here, which is on the context of this high that bearish fair value got back on July 31st as a supply area. So I'm looking to where they want to go. Right now, they're probably they're going to be targeting that 637. So let's see where we are in Robinhood. Let's see if they did more shenanigans or if we're still going up. So yeah, it's playing out exactly what we expect. Like right now, and this is a little under a couple hours before we open for pre-market. Right now we're at, look at that, I hit it right on the dot, 634, 24. So this is where we currently are in after hours trading. Current price at 2:02 a.m. So that's our current price where we are right now at 2:02 a.m. Right? So it looks like, so the sequence will look like they went down. So they basically did this. They went boom, 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 and now we're right here. So look at this. They kind of created a head and shoulder, but not kind of, they did create like a little head and shoulder pattern here where this is the head portion. The right shoulder right here is higher than the left shoulder. So that's your right shoulder. This is your left shoulder. That's your left shoulder. So what I'm expecting, if they don't take the move, I wouldn't be surprised if they like try to take much of this move. In that case, I will be looking for a play to come back down to, like, let's say come back down to the 634 area, or if they're really trying to shake people out, come back all the way down to the top of this trend line. Now, we do have jobs report tomorrow, I believe. Let me see. So in terms of like reports and things that are coming out for Thursday, yeah, we have initial jobless claims at 8:30 a.m. in the morning. U.S. productivity quarter two. Now these jobless claims are they're supposed to be covering, I believe, for the previous month, if I'm not mistaken. They had U.S. unit labor costs, wholesale inventories. The Atlanta Fed President Raphael Bostic is I guess he's going to be doing a speech or talking at 10 a.m. and then we have consumer credit at 3 p.m. So what's interesting is we just had some issues with the previous, I believe it was the jobs numbers that previously came out, or the unemployment numbers, whatever it was, like the numbers from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, where Trump didn't like the numbers, fired the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics because he thought the numbers were doctored or manipulated in some type of way. Maybe and they adjusted numbers too. The numbers they adjusted were pretty big, so in a way, I kind of do understand that part, like for them to be so off on their adjustment. But that's how, you're dealing with hundreds of thousands of even billions of data pieces, so it can happen. But and I'm not saying I agree with Trump, because I don't. He's pretty flippant and just flies off the dome pretty easily. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how these numbers show up tomorrow. It could push us back down, or it could make us fly. So I'll be interested to see how that plays out. But you can kind of see this little smaller head and shoulders here. where it looks like we want to get set back up, and that's exactly what we're doing right now. So let's see if we can detect like a bigger head and shoulder. So, well, we did detect it yesterday, right? So we had like, let me take this off. So what's interesting is, we had, so we have a bigger head and shoulder going on where actually the right shoulder. So let me take you. So what's interesting is these channels that I created actually kind of show you the head portion of that bigger head and shoulder. That's funny that happened that way. So check this out. This is like the bigger head, or the head of a much bigger head and shoulder playing out right now. So if we were to do use the path tool, and let's see, let's go with right? That's what we're dealing with right now, where you got the shoulders. So what's interesting, I'm interested in seeing how this plays out, because this is a much bigger head and shoulder. So I don't know if you remember in the past, remember I talked to you about how, like, when you have bigger head and shoulders, you can have smaller head and shoulders that play out like on sides of the shoulders. So this is a perfect example. This little shoulder that we just drew just now, before I did this whole thing, that was a smaller head and shoulder that shows us going up in the intermediary, or the current state, right? Actually, this kind of goes like this. It was a smaller head and shoulder on the right side of this bigger head and shoulder, right? Or I like it when it looks more normal. So let's do this. So let's do it like that. So this is the bigger head and shoulder. It's like an inverse head and shoulder where the head's down bottom. A normal one is like when the head's up top. So it's set up in a way for us to go up. But what's interesting is the right shoulder is lower than the left shoulder, right? We have this small W pattern here to set us up. So what I think is going to happen is we'll probably get sent up here for this is a sell-off area, supply area from this high. They sold off heavy here in the past. So in the shorter term, I think we're going to sell off here, probably come back down here to get support at this measurement start, possibly, or lower into the head, maybe, maybe down here closer to they kind of balanced out the 50% already, so we may not get that low. They might come like manipulate on top of this channel here to go up. So I'm interested in seeing how that plays out. This is a good example right here. But once we pass this bearish fair value gap and break this high created by this insanely looking candle where they came into the market, I think that's going to give us what we need to push higher. So what's probably going to happen is we're going to form like another head and shoulder where this left side is going to be a lower left shoulder, and then we'll end up creating a right side for a higher shoulder. This will be the head portion. We'll get supported here, and that's going to be able to push us higher to shift kind of like the character of what we're seeing here. So that's what I'm looking at, folks, for this morning and today. I'm going to go ahead and create new levels. I'll probably go on a new chart, possibly. I'll see how I feel. But that's what I'm looking at for today in the market. Since we're above here already, I think we're going to get up in here. It really depends on what the job numbers say. If they're really bad or if they miss expectations, it could push us back down decently. But if they are on par or meet expectations, then we'll probably do some like consolidation and then get ready to take off. So we'll see what happens. I'll try to give you an update if I have time during my lunch break to give you a mid-market update, and I'll let you know if I was able to take advantage of a trade or not. That's it for the morning, folks. I appreciate your time as always. I hope these concepts are starting to come together and you're noticing the pattern and just like the consistency of what we're looking at and how we use the bigger time frame context to help us with the shorter time frame entry model and things like that. So I hope y'all have a great day. If you're going to trade, I hope you have a great trade. You're able to learn from your trade. And I hope it's a winning trade, but bigger thing, I hope you're able to learn from it to really understand your setup and all that stuff. So don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, support the Cash App, money sign, Minedialogue. Hit me up via email, minedialogue.business@gmail.com. Please don't forget to hit the comments up. Give me some engagement, some feedback. Let me know what you like, what you don't like, all that good stuff. But I hope you have a great Thursday on purpose. As always, y'all,